In this video, we'll be demonstrating a supplier's login to the PDQ Compare online environment. After logging in with your username and password, you will be taken to the first screen, which is your quote history screen. In here, you will see a log of all quotes that have been done recently, and if you scroll, it will load more results and continue to load more results as you scroll. To actually navigate through this screen, you can use start dates and times, end dates and times, and search for any element that contains within these columns and rows. You can also break things down by product groups, categories, and product types, i.e. items that have been quoted in the onQ environment. You can also look for quotes that are done specifically by yourself or by your customers, or the default view is for everyone. There are three types of quotes in the online environment. The first type being an offQ. Now, an offQ is an offline quote request. When the buyer goes into the system, they'll process a quotation, and that will be emailed out to all suppliers contained or grouped against that product, and you will be invited via email to enter your pricing against that product. The other type of quote is a list queue product, and that list queue product is very similar to an offQ, but it's a defined template with drop-down variables. So it could be a product for anything. It could be a business card, an envelope, it could be a pull-up banner, any type of point-of-sale product. In fact, it could be absolutely anything. So if you're a vendor of even non-print related products, it could be for the types of products that you specifically deal with. And the variables could contain things like the size of the product, how many colors the product's printed, what material the product's done on, and then you have a price matrix that has costs already entered against that product that give instant results. The third type of product is an onQ product, and an onQ product is based upon real time and motion, i.e. your production plant and how jobs are actually estimated and produced. So it gives the best production route for any given job automatically and instantly provides buyers with pricing for those types of products. So when viewing through your list, you'll see here we have the log IDs, we have who requested the quote, and in brackets the client, the date and time they were raised, the title of the product, the customer reference, what the product type was, the quantity. Now this shows you the primary quantity, so if there are other quantities, they will be displayed in the actual view, which I'll come to in a few moments. The result of that primary quantity and where you ranked in price. Now you'll notice next to the rankings there's a little bar chart icon, and if you click on that, what that displays is my selling price, where you were ranked, and also what prices were ranked at number one, the pricing difference in cost and percentage, what the market guide price is, and this is based on a average type printer who provides sustainable cost to the environment, and where that market guide price is also pitched in the online environment, and the price difference and obviously the percentage difference. It also shows you the average top 5 and the average top 10. So this at a glance gives you an instant view as to how you fare with any given job in this list view before you even get to see your results. Now when looking at your results for any given inquiry in the online environment, you will click on the breakdown icon there. Now you'll notice there's a difference when an estimate has already been quoted or if one is already pending. And if one's pending, you'll see a different icon which is asking you there to check your price, and this allows you to enter your prices for these offline quotation requests. So these aren't automated costs, these are costs that have got to be estimated offline and then entered back into the system. So looking through some different types of quotes, when you're looking at a list queue type product and you click on the breakdown there, you'll see the product information, the category of the product, the pricing basis, the pricing mode, so whether it's based on price per each or price per thousand in the system, and then obviously the product description. And then over here you'll see here the log ID references the quantities that were requested, who it was that raised the quote. Obviously the quantities there in the drop down, so if you've got more than one quantity you can flick between your quantities and view your pricing that you've returned. And then obviously showing you the total price, and then a breakdown of costs depending on how you set up your price matrices. You'll see here obviously the setups, any materials, what the run costs were, adding up to total prices, and if delivery was included, then of course you will also see a breakdown of delivery costs underneath. When looking at an onQ and seeing the breakdown, this breakdown is far more comprehensive. It shows you a full product description, which you can obviously hide and show. Shows you where it's being delivered. Initially it shows my cost breakdowns, but you can also see the benchmark cost breakdowns as well. So if you wanted to view those against the sustainable average print cost, then you can do so as well. And again, a replication of what we saw when we clicked on the little bar chart icon, which is represented here, how your prices compare with others in the environment. It then shows you an overview of your costs, so giving you an initial breakdown of paper delivery and your CO2 emissions at the top there. You can now see all the different processes, the costs, any markups, sub-markups I should say, that have been applied there, the values, the cell values, CO2 and time that's been taken to do each of those production elements that are shown within that breakdown of costs. As we scroll down you will see total cost there, what the generic product margin is, what the overall margin or discount might be, the added value percentage, the buyer's fee if applicable, and then my selling price. So this shows you your final selling price to your client in the online environment, all based upon margins, which will be in a later video demonstration. Scroll down further and you'll see section breakdowns. So where we have multiple sections, this particular quote's a self-cover, but where you'll see multiple sections will be in things like where you've got a cover and a text and then multiple unique text sections there on afterwards, and this will show you a finite breakdown of what it took to produce each section. So in here you can analyze your costs and see where you are in on price, where you're out on price, where elements might need tweaking in the future like run speeds, etc., or even of course hourly rates. But here you'll see a breakdown of all your costs. So showing here is PDF proofing, you'll see make readies and runs, you'll see materials, you'll see finishing make readies and runs, total ink pricing, and also total paper pricing. And this again is for each component, each section. And obviously any unique sections will be displayed in multiple tabs. And then scroll down a bit further, you will then see your delivery costs. Here showing you how many copies, where it's being delivered to, what's required, what type of delivery is being used, and what the CO2 emissions are for that delivery. So where you've got multiple shipments, obviously they will display in multiple tabs for multiple deliveries. If you have multiple quantities at this point, there will be a quantity box there, so you can then analyze your primary and then all your other quantities there on afterwards. You'll notice here in the top corner there's two little icons. The little swirly arrows allow you to request a similar quote, so you yourself could requote that using your default margins in the system. You can do tests to see where you pitch or fare once changing your margins. Once happy with your margins, you can then apply them to the buyer. There's also a download PDQ file for those users that have PDQ desktop. You can also download this request for quote file directly into your PDQ desktop product, which can then seamlessly integrate into most and any MIS system to allow a seamless workflow from online to on-site through to your MIS, through to actual production. Coming back to the quote history list, our third and final element to view is our offQ quote. So offQ pricing. When an offQ is pending, it gives you obviously time. Now, once the time's expired, it doesn't necessarily mean that the offQ is closed. What it does mean is that you can still enter pricing until the buyer actually closes that bid time. Now, any time up to that bid's close, you can go back into an offQ and you can amend pricing. If it has been cancelled, it basically means that the vendor has closed down the offQ and no one has returned any pricing. But if it's gone past the allotted time and you've not been able to submit pricing and it's closed, you will not be able to submit pricing there and after it's been closed. So clicking on the check your price icon, in here it shows you who requested it, information, email addresses, and any phone numbers stroke fax numbers, if applicable, will also be shown in this view here. You will see the title of the job, any references, when it's requested, etc., and any attachments. So if they've attached an artwork file or anything like that that you just want to have a quick view of, could be a PDF, a JPEG in this particular instance, you can click on that. Your browser will download it, or instantly viewing, depending on which browser and what facilities you've got, and then you can view a little picture of what it is that you're quoting there. Details of the product, obviously the description asking you what the product's all about, so you can then go back to your offline estimating system, you can do all your pricing, come back to this system, and then you've got various options here. So here's asking you to input your price in the currency shown below, so depending on what currency you are, that will show accordingly. You have the option to decline, and if you do, it'll pop up a box and ask you for the reason why you're declining it. But entering your total price is as simple as typing in your figures. Now the delivery is asking you for delivery costs that are included in your total price. You can set those to 0 if delivery has not been requested, or you're not delivering, or you put in your buyer's notes that this is to be collected, whatever. But in that particular case, if I state that I've got £100 or dollars in there, then that basically means that's already included in the total price. My supplier reference was my quote number, so this could be a reference from my own internal systems. Which could be the same number for both quantities, of course. Any notes, so these could be test notes or extra for ABC at £120. And then here we can add files. So if we've got any files that we want to add, from a supplier's perspective, the type of files that we would add here, possibly your estimate letter that you could output from your internal system as a PDF. You are restricted to certain extensions, so please read the notes below. There's only a maximum of 5 megabytes, and the following extensions are the only file types that are allowed in the system. You can drag and drop, or you can simply just browse to a file and attach that file type. And once you have finished, you simply press save. It will take you straight back to the quote history list, and now you will see the offQ price is no longer pending, and in there you can go back and review your results, so you can still check your pricing. And like I said, until the pricing, the offQ, has been closed, you can go back in and edit this and make changes to whatever elements you want to and resave it. So that's navigating around the system.